today's video, we're going to focus on the #1 player in Australia. You can see he has over 61,000 kills. If we go ahead and go over to wins, he's still #1 in wins. So this is kind of an odd thing. And you're going to see on the overall leaderboards, he ranks pretty much in top 10 on both of these categories. You can see for wins, he's sitting at 1,500. And then we look at the leaderboards in game. You can see that for kills, Headache is over here in the top 10. Obviously, these top couple players are cheating with KDs negative and like 20 plus KDs. But one of the things that separates a Headache from a lot of the other players is he averages 18 kills per match, which is insane. And a lot of these guys that go for these high kill games, they don't win a ton of games. They have a decent win percentage, more than average. But when it comes to wins, they're nowhere in the top on the leaderboards. Whereas a Headache, he's like 8th. And we're going to look at his gameplay, see what makes him so good. How does he move? How does he play? And why, and basically what makes him a top player. If you enjoyed the video or learned something new, please do me a favor, hit that like button. Goal in today's video is 3,000 likes. If you're brand new, want to find your way back for more Call of Duty content, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. And if you're interested in checking him out, I'm going to leave links to all of his stuff near the top of the description. And if there's anyone else you'd like to see on this type of breakdown, let me know down in the comment section. Let's go ahead and get into it. So in this particular gameplay, what I noticed from watching him, because normally when I do these types of gameplays, I spectate these people, I lurk in their chats, I watch multiple matches to kind of get a good idea how they play, how they interact with chat, all that type of stuff. So anyone that I usually recommend, they read chat, they interact, plus on top of that, they're a very good player. What you're going to see in this gameplay, like we've seen with a lot of these top players, they land a super and they try to rack up on kills. Normally the goal for super is anywhere between 6 to 8 to 10 kills. If you can come out of there, then likely by the end of the match, especially late game, you're going to pick up another 5 or 6. Mid game, you pick up another 5 or 6. You end up with 20 plus kills. That's normally the strategy. Ends up getting in there, it gets pretty compacted, and he gets killed by a player. Obviously, these players get high kills on a regular basis. Like in his case, he averages 18 kills per match, which means he's regularly getting more kills than that. Because obviously if you die, then, you know, it kind of works itself out. You can see his KD right at the top of the screen, the 1,500 wins. So it was only a day or two ago that I'm breaking this down. But often with these, since he does play on Australian servers, they can be very high ping, very laggy, and have a lot of hackers. So he's coming back. His teammate cleared out whoever was there. And obviously he's just going to loot up. Similar tactics that we've seen. But you're going to see the outplay potential. He only plays on a 5.5 sensitivity when it comes to controller with like 110 FOV or 105 FOV, somewhere in there. So it's going to feel like his sensitivity is way faster. On top of that, the movement's going to feel a little bit different because he is using auto attack sprint. Obviously, that saves your left analog, and it's just a little bit easier to move around because then you don't have to spam that. You go slide cancel a little bit easier. Only big drawback is if you use shotguns, you got to be either strafing or sliding so that you don't stop that animation when you're trying to pull the trigger or just hold that trigger. So it could be a little bit interesting to get used to. But overall, I think in the long run, if you can get used to it, it can save your controller. And then obviously you can actually move around just a lot easier. But be prepared to take a couple L's while you try and figure out how to use it effectively. So you got the money, you got the loadouts, and they're gonna play that way. He also run a couple tournaments recently, which is pretty nice. And you're going to see him use the RAM, and one of the things that's cool about his particular RAM that he uses is he uses an attachment that is specific to the RAM, which is the Cronus 4x4. You don't have this attachment on any of the other rifles. It's a 4x zoom, so it puts it in the high zoom category, and it can make it look like you have a little bit more optical zoom than you do with the VLK. So even though it fits into the VLK category, the VLK is only at 3 times. This gives you a little bit of extra zoom without all that big penalty that having like a 4X hybrid would give you typically. So he's pretty good to go. He's got his loadout. Only 3 kills at this point. Obviously, since he averages 18, he's clearly going to get more than that. So any of the movement, it's a combination of having a little bit higher FOV than console and having that auto attack sprint and being able to know how to use it. He does have a paddled controller, but he only uses one paddle to jump. And I think he uses his R3 to slide because he's on tactical. So pretty much one button for jumping, then everything else is done basically on his standard controller. He has that one controller that PlayStation has where you're able to add on the back buttons here, which is like a $30 attachment. You can just add on to any PlayStation controller. Obviously, Xbox has the Elite. And even I think Nintendo Switch is starting to have, though they call them advanced controllers or something like that. He's pushing up. He popped the dead silent so he can go ahead and sneak up on this guy. You can see on the mini map, there's two guys down low. They're communicating with the team. The other guy was coming out of the sky. There's another guy on top of airport. You can't really see them, but you can see where the danger symbol is on here, where you've been damaged. I don't really even know what that's called. It's like a directional indicator for where you take damage. He's mounted up. We did a video on how the RAM basically has no recoil when you mount it. Stacking attachments, even less recoil. It's gonna go up, clean up the kill. Hopefully it's a 1v1. There he is. Easy enough. So this early in the game, most people either have an overkill loadout or haven't gotten their loadout. You can hear the guy comes in. There's another one, uses the movement. And we saw this with Average Joe. Whoa, a lot of this sliding and moving, it just looks so smooth. Auto attack sprint easily makes it much smoother because you don't have to worry about multiple button inputs. All you're worrying about is sliding, like the tactical slide, which for him, he's using it on his R3. His teammate died. The guy's one shot. Servers acting up. You can see it's lagging and he skipped. Look at the packet loss, 95%. And if you've ever played on Australian servers, I have. I used to play with my buddy Juicy, which lives over there in Oceania region. All kinds of packet loss, high ping, all kinds of issues. So these are things you generally have to deal with that I think mostly in EU and North America you generally don't run into unless it's a one-off. This happens quite often for their types of lobbies.
Bro, holy crap.
So there's another guy back up on the building, it looks like, or somewhere right on that bridge area. He could either... Oh, there he is. So yeah, I even went in and tried it with the RAM. I think as I'm just too used to having no recoil on the Kilo, and I've kind of gotten used to the AMAX, that the RAM just doesn't feel like I could control it the same way I can those other guns. I mean, I know if I invested more time in using the RAM, it'd be a lot more accurate. It's just like Kilo and AMAX are just a little bit easier for me for the DPS and the AMAX, and then obviously the zero recoil basically on the Kilo. Even the M13 has like almost none. But the RAM, it can get out of hand pretty quick if you don't get a good grasp of those first initial jumps. So waiting for this guy to peek. He's trying to even bait with his teammate, because obviously his teammate's over here on this left side, and he's trying to get the teammate to like maybe cause be seen by him. So if he peeks, he could just beam him off the head glitch. So he's just waiting on timing. Teammate rotated back. The guy didn't end up looking. And now they're going to end up having to rotate. Another technique that's pretty good with the RAM is a lot of times you can release the trigger and then re-pull it again. So you can kind of reset that recoil so it gets a little bit easier to manage. Allows you to recenter, get back on target. If you just hold the trigger for an extended period of time, it could get a little tricky as well. Yeah, stopping power on the MP5. Normally it's good to put stopping power on your close range option, just because even if it does have high recoil, you're typically so close you're not going to really run into an issue where it's actual challenge to control that recoil. Obviously, if you're trying to shoot somebody off that roof, it's going to be a little bit harder. So he damaged that guy, didn't manage to kill him. I thought that the guy slid to the right, so maybe it's two people. Kind of happened kind of quick. He's peeking the right side, peeking the left. And you can see how the movement is. So a lot of people were asking about that when we did the Average Joe video. When you played up, you have auto attack sprint, you're sliding around, the animation looks different, and you're able to play it up even though it just takes the same amount of time. It just looks a lot different.
I've never had Gfuel before.
Oh, it froze again. There it goes.
Love to get run over by the car.
So his teammate ran over the guy that was the bounty. Servers connects. And obviously not every match they're lagging, but I did want to kind of point this out just because this is what players are dealing with. I know I've had a lot of people recommend me other players to go ahead and check out. And I know players that are in different regions that are maybe under supported just do not have the best connections to lobbies. So there's two more people. His teammate just died. He's going to have to go ahead and recover that. End up getting a ghost class, picks up his loadouts, and he's good to go. Still has the stopping power because obviously they've changed that where you're allowed to have that now. When you drop your weapons, pick it back up. And there's a lot of people out there that'll say all that extra movement's unnecessary. And I'll agree to a certain extent. I think that if you're just moving around the map, looting, you know, position yourself, you know, getting to a certain point, getting a couple kills here and there, getting to a, you know, 8 kill, 12 kill win. Cool. You don't need to do all that movement. But once you know, have a lot of experience with that movement, there's a lot of scenarios where you're in a 1v1, a 1v2, a 1v3, and you don't have any teammates with you, where there's a lot of outplay potential when you understand how to use these movements to your advantage, because you could be a hard target to hit. You could be able to be behind cover and you know, jump out and jump in. It's just a lot more fluidity. I wouldn't say just go ahead and do it in a match and start doing this all of a sudden. I would say this is something that you should consciously work on to improve on, whether it's in a private match or something along those lines, so that you can get better at utilizing those skills, so that if you want to play a little bit more aggro, this is the type of movement you'd want. He stunned the guy. You can see he slid, jumped past him, so that the aim assist, even if it would be a little bit trickier to lock on. And if he's on keyboard and mouse, no shot. He's leaving him alive, even though that guy can mark him. Listening for audio cues, you can hear the guy outside, jumps out, destroys him pretty easily, and then end up getting the double kill. But the guy wasn't stim shotting to self-revive up top, so you were in a pretty good spot. You can hear the gunfire over at PD area. At least that's where it sounded like it was coming from.
Do I pay for a skin or an operator? Skin. Oh, you mean weapon skin? No,
And then also, once the movement becomes a little bit more second nature, you do it kind of without thinking, because that's kind of how habits are developed. Once you get to a certain point, you don't even got to really think about the fundamentals. You just do it.
For my whole life.
Definitely good recoil control. And there's a definite difference between zero recoil and someone controlling the recoil. And these are all close ranges with the RAM. These are like what you'd consider multiplayer ranges. So those aren't even like insane ranges. Has a stun. Times it, jumps out. The guy ended up running away instead of pre-aiming it. Normally, if you get stunned, you got, well, maybe he didn't know the stun was coming through. But you got to look at where you know they're coming from, because then at least you have a chance. If you're turned around, they could basically execute you. Got another bounty. Has the money to get his teammate, but there's not necessarily the most convenient buy station. The only real one that he could get to in the close proximity is already going to be contested, where we heard gunfire. There's still people where he downed the guy at PD, so he's got to kind of head back in that general direction. There's the one. Easy enough. And this is one of the hardest buys to buy at, in my opinion, just because the window overlooks it. People from Super could be rotating in. People on the street could be coming around. There's a lot going through. He's clearing out the building. You can hear the footsteps. Backed off. Come back in to challenge it. That is the strongest head glitch, probably top 3 head glitches in the entire Warzone. The dies behind the desk in the corner, where he could see you, but you can't really see him. It's kind of one of the most broken head glitches. Debating on going to the buy. There ended up being a guy at the buy. He almost lost this. He's one shot. He's got a plate up to recover. And you can see how he's getting the movement in. And then I think it lags. The game lagged. The game lagged hard. What a bad timing for it to lag too, right? There it goes. It's back. There you go. You hear him? You shot him. He's going to come back out. Peek. Got hit with a thermite. Reset this. So now there's at least 2 of them, right? Like there's one at the buy that he damaged, which jumped out the window to buy his teammate. And then he has one more that's coming back in. That potentially is going to have their loadout. So he's got to play this smart and patient. You can hear him underneath. Personally, if this was me, I would try to time it if we're both going to come up and risk it. Step 1 is you can see that guy peeked a couple times. But what happens is you come up both ladders at the exact same time, so that they can't look at both of you. One of you get down, but then you could at least put some bullets into him. By coming up a split push, you kind of have a terrible push, and you can end up getting killed like that scenario right there. There it is. And then following the typical strategy, getting the bounty, UAV, chase down a kill, bounty, UAV, chase down a kill. And a lot of that is like the value behind actually doing that is obviously get the cash. But the key is you have to do it fast enough where those UAVs actually lead you to kills. If you aren't getting kills within those UAV windows or getting bounties, you end up without money, and there's so many players that are just around the map, and it doesn't give you much direction. So if you're chasing kills, that's kind of how you have to do it. Versus if you're trying to play for the win, you rotate early in position. You can see they're not in the zone. They're clearly not pushed for the win. They're playing aggressively, trying to chase as many kills as they can. So by the time the zone... Oh, never mind. His name didn't pop up. I thought it was an enemy real quick. But if you do that regularly, you're going to be in a position where you can get wins by getting easy kills because you killed the good players in the lobby or whatever the case is. So easy little beam here. The guy was like 5 meters away. There's another team on the other side. It looks like they're inside airport. It may be another guy by this yellow ping. You can hear the guy on the steps. That's how he knew his teammate was. The guy had the fire shotgun. Able to take him out. This guy has to rotate over, and they got to get out of here because the zone's already creeping up on their behind. Got him. Easy kill. And as the guy was rapping, we knew he had to. He had nowhere to go. If he was on this side of the building, he already kind of had to get hit. They still know there's a guy over here somewhere. Have enough money for a UAV if they can get to another buy. And sometimes rotating this late, like I said, could put you in a bad spot because obviously if you got to cross the airport runway, like you would have known to move way earlier and then you would have been in a good spot. He marked that that's good. That'll at least cause them to be a little bit more in a panic. That clears for the rotation. Those streaks are typically good for that. Cluster's good for rotations. Precision's usually good for finishing it down. He's going in case they came down. So 25 seconds, this bounty is going to run out. They should be able to get at least one, maybe two if there's up there. You can see his teammate down somebody. And they're splitting so that they could potentially, whichever side they jump off, because normally you're going to jump off the opposite side of where the enemies are so that you can land safely. Because if you're landing, people are going to see you in the air. You're going to be a clean, easy kill. So now they're split, but they know they're still up there. Even though they don't have that bounty on the head, they'll still be able to kill these players, but they're just not going to be able to get as much cash. And likely in this rotation, you will not be able to loot them. That's another issue that you can run into by being in the gas, is that you don't get the proper time to loot, which can impact multiple areas of your game. But obviously, if you're good, you're going to get in multiple engagements. You're going to loot up, all that type of stuff. You're going to try and be fast or whatever. So they stunned and they pushed the teammate. So look how you'll handle this. It actually is lagging.
Please, no, man, please. No,
wow, the timing on the lag is horrendous. So he gets one. Easy little one there.
That just might have worked out.
There's another one. Clean shot, but the guy had the sniper out. And he took all three of them out. Good timing. But he can't loot any of their bodies. Luckily, he already has 8,600, so he could buy back his teammate and get him a potential revive. So yes, sitting on 21 kills with 13 players left. And it looks like a lot of teams are low number of teammates because there's only 3 teams and 5 players, which is pretty good there. Whoa, they traded. So he got back up. He's good to go. That was so crazy. So now he has enough to revive his teammate. But at this point, people have heard it. They're going to be able to gatekeep. Look at that. There's 2 on the team. Look at this. This would be a terrible situation, but let's see how he plays it out. And the movement really comes in clutch. You can see he dodges that, comes back through, tries to get at least 1 pick, throws a stun, gets the second almost, can't fully commit to that. Can't tell if there's 2 or 3 of them. He did down 1, so maybe they'll go for the revive. He buys back his teammate, gets a little bit of plates, and then he's reset the gunfight. And that's what a lot of good players are good at. They're good at resetting the gunfight. He didn't know that the other guy was there, but he did throw the flash, and I think he threw the grenade, so that damaged the guy. And then another one in here, you could hear it. Oh, the server lagged again. And you can hear the guy. He jumped out. Thought there was another one. I thought I heard footsteps too. Oh, there is another one. Calling a teammate. Cool. Now he's up to 24 kills. He did down that one. His teammate was up there to help clean up a little bit there, but the guy ran around the other side. Oh, man. These servers are awful. Is the guy going to peek? The timing on these lags is horrendous. He ended up getting caught in the gas.
Yeah. Munitions. Do you have any armor? Like, spare armor?
Yeah. Plenty. Here.
Do you have an armor box or something?
No,
I got 0. Yeah, I got no reserves. Mad.
There it is. They split it.
Yeah.
Mount it up.
Finish that guy.
Get the no recoil. Pretty easy.
Alright, he's got a teammate.
One of the most underutilized thing in Warzone for how broken it is, the mounting. We talked about that with Scopes. He mounts a lot. And you've seen him. He already mounts quite a bit. And that's primarily probably because he uses the RAM a lot. You can just maximize the TTK. It's kind of ridiculous how fast you can die when getting hit by that. That guy's stimming over there. Got to tap fire it. And there we go. So just his normal typical match, he ended up dropping 26 kills. Like I said, his average is 18, so you'd expect to see that on a regular basis with over 10,000 damage. If you guys enjoyed the gameplay, I definitely recommend checking out Headache. Links over in the description. Enjoy the video or learn something new, make sure you hit the like button. If you're brand new looking to find your way back for more Call of Duty content or just haven't yet subscribed, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. Comment who you'd like to see in a future gameplay breakdown. Appreciate your support on the channel. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.